Hello dear children. Today let us do second chapter of Geography class 7. The name of the chapter is Inside Our Earth. The Earth, our homeland, is a dynamic planet. Boys, the Earth, it is our homeland. It is the planet where we are living. It is a dynamic planet. Dynamic means full of energy and ideas, boys. It is constantly undergoing changes inside and outside. So, in the earth as well as on the earth, different changes it is taking place. That's why it has mentioned here it is constantly undergoing changes inside and outside. Have you ever wondered what lies in the interior of the earth? Whether you are surprised to know that what is there inside the earth? What is the earth made up of? What is actually the earth is made up of? Interior of the earth. See the earth's interior, how is it? What it is made of? Let us see. Just like an onion, the earth is made up of several concentric layers with one inside another. Boys, as you know, an onion has different layers, different covers. So, like that, the earth is made up of several concentric layers. Concentric means having the same center point. So, like an onion, our earth also have different layers with one inside another. The uppermost layer over the earth's surface is called the crust. Yes, that means the earth it has different layers. So the uppermost layer over the earth's surface is called the crust. The uppermost layer, it is the layer where we build our houses, buildings, construction of road, this thing, and where all plants, trees, it grows. These are all on the uppermost layer of the earth. So this uppermost layer of the earth is called the crust. Mark it, okay? It may ask you what is a crust. If this question asks what is crust, you have to answer it like this. It is the thinnest of all the layers. Among all different layers of the earth, the crust is the thinnest of all the layers. It is not thick, okay, it is thinnest, remember, of all the layers. It is about 35 kilometers on the continental masses and only 5 kilometers on the ocean floors. See, as it is the thinnest of all the layers, this layer is about 35 kilometers on the continental, that means on the continent masses, and only 5 kilometers on the ocean floors. The main mineral constitutes, the main mineral constituents of the continental mass are silica and alumina. So silica and alumina, these are the main mineral which are having by this earth. It is thus called shale, and that is why, see, it is known as shale. Shale means, boys, see here, Si means silica and Al means alumina. So silica and alumina, the numeric name. The oceanic crust mainly consists of silica and magnesium. Oceanic crust, oceanic crust means the hard part of on the outside. It is mainly consists of silica and magnesium. Magnesium, it is a light silver white metal that burns with a bright white flame. So we find here what the oceanic crust, it is mainly consists of silica and magnesium. It is therefore called shima, as it is consists of silica and aluminum and magnesium. That is why it is known as shima. Si, silica, and magnesium. In figure 2.2, here it shows continental crust and oceanic crust. Have a look at this diagram. Just beneath the crust is the mantle, which extends up to a depth of 2,900 kilometers. So just under, beneath means under the crust, there is the mantle. See here the diagram which is given here in this space, figure 2.1, interior of the earth, boys. Crust, you can see the topmost layer, lithosphere, is present on the crust. Then after that, second layer, it is mantle, yellow color. This yellowish color, it indicates the mantle layer. So it is just the crust, and this mantle, it extends up to a depth of 2,900 kilometers. Below the crust, that means its depth, you see here, it means just beneath the crust is the mantle, which extends up to a depth of 2,900 kilometers below the crust. So below the crust, its depth is 2,900 kilometers. But have a look, right margin of this space. Do you know? If you know, it's okay. If you don't know, you have to know this. Okay, mark it and you must learn it, boys. The deepest mine in the world is in South Africa. It is about 4 kilometers deep. In search for oil, engineers have dug a hole about 6 kilometers. So the deepest mine. To dug out, that means any minerals. Okay, see, this mine is like that. So in the world, the deepest mine is there in South Africa. It is about 4 kilometers deep. In search for oil, engineers have dug a hole about 6 kilometers. So to find out or to extract crude oil from there, engineers, they have dug at a depth of about 6 kilometers. To reach to the center of the earth, which is not possible. Okay. To reach to the center of the earth, you will have a you have to dig a hole 6,000 kilometers deep on the ocean floors. See boys, this is not possible, it says. But to reach to the center, if you want to reach to the center of the earth, you need to dig a hole 6,000 kilometers depth on the ocean floor. Then you will get the center there. The innermost layer is the core with a radius of about 3,500 kilometers. So the third layer or the innermost layer of the earth is the core. It is the innermost layer, boys. And it has a radius of about 3,500 kilometers. It is mainly made up of nickel and iron and is called knife. Ni, nickel, and from Fe, ferrous. That is iron. So, boys, the innermost layer of the earth is the core, which has a radius of about 3,500 kilometers, and this layer is mainly made up of nickel and iron, which is known as knife. Then from this nickel, Ni has taken, and Ni here, it means nickel, and Fe, from this we get Fe. Fe means ferrous. So by combining this Ni and Fe, it becomes knife, which means iron. Ferrous means iron here, okay? Nickel and ferrous. The central core has very high temperature and pressure. The central core of the earth, it has very high temperature, very hot, dear boys, and it has very high pressure also. See another one. Do you know the crust forms only 1% of the volume of the earth? 84% consists of the mantle, and 15% makes the core. The radius of the earth is 6,371. Tick mark all this, okay? And know it. The radius of the earth also. Then rocks and minerals. The earth's crust is made up of various types of rocks. Our earth's crust, it is made up of different types of rocks. Now let us see what is a rock. Any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the earth's crust is called a rock. If it asks what is a rock, you have to answer it. You just mark it from any, okay. Any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the earth's crust is called a rock. Rocks can be of different color, size and texture. Rocks, it can be of different color, different sizes and different texture. There are three major types of rocks. Just tick mark this one also. How many types of rocks are there? You have to say here major type of rocks. There are three major types of rocks. They are igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. So, boys, you find here what is a rock and how many types of rocks are there. Name them. When the molten magma means that hot fluid, it cools, it becomes solid. Rocks thus formed are called igneous rocks. So, boys, when this molten magma ejected from inside the earth, it cools the air and it becomes a solid there, a solid particle there. So rocks thus formed, rocks which form in this process by cooling of magma, they are called igneous rocks. They are also called primary rocks. There are two types of igneous rocks. See, types of igneous rocks. How many types of igneous rocks are there? If it asks, you have to answer. There are two types of igneous rocks. They are intrusive rocks and extrusive rocks. Intrusive means informative rocks, okay, and extrusive means that has been pushed out of the earth by a volcano. See here this word origin again, left margin, igneous, it is a Latin word, ignis meaning fire. Then sedimentary, it is also Latin word, sedimentum meaning settle down. Then metamorphic, it is a Greek word, boys. Greek word metamorphos, from this word metamorphos, this metamorphic word existed. Its meaning change of form, changes its form. So tick mark these three also, igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic rocks. These are igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic, their meaning you have to know. Then boys, they have a very fine grained structure. For example, sorry, I have to start from, can you imagine lava coming out from the volcanoes? I think you are familiar from that, means net. You have seen how lava used to eject from inside the earth. Imagine lava coming out from the volcanoes before the volcanic eruptions. This lava used to come out from the earth. Lava is actually fiery red molten magma coming out from the interior of the earth on its surface. See, lava, it is actually fiery red molten magma. Its color is, that means fiery red. It is molten magma which is coming out from the interior of the earth on its surface. When this molten lava comes on the earth's surface, it rapidly cools down and becomes solid. Boys, as this molten lava, it comes on the earth's surface, it used to do what? It slowly cools down and becomes solid, and in this way it becomes solid. Rocks formed in such a way on the crust are called extrusive igneous rocks. Rocks, those which formed in that process with the help of, you see, when this molten lava comes out on the earth's surface and it rapidly cools down and becomes rocks, becomes solid. So rocks which formed in this way on the crust, they are called extrusive igneous rocks. They have a very fine grained structure. For example, basalt, the Deccan Plateau is made up of basalt rocks. So they have a very fine grained structure. As example, basalt. The Deccan Plateau. Deccan means south, the southern plateau, boys. It is made up of basalt rocks. In the map of India, you can find this Deccan Plateau. So it is made up of basalt rocks, boys. Sometimes the molten magma cools down deep inside the Earth's crust. Sometimes this molten magma it used to cool down deep inside the earth also, earth crust. Solid rocks so formed are called intrusive igneous rocks. So as it doesn't ejected, it remains inside the earth, cools down there, and those which had cools down deep inside the earth crust, they are called intrusive igneous rocks. Since they cool down slowly, they form large grains. As they cool down slowly, they form large grains. Granite is an example of such a rock. Granite, I think you know that, boys. Granite is an example of such a rock. Grinding stones used to prepare paste, powder of spices, and grains are made of granite. See, grinding stones. We use grinding stones which we use to prepare paste or powder of spices and grains. They are made of granite stone. Okay. Then see here, boys, again fossils. What are fossils? If it asks, you have to answer. The remains of the dead plants and animals trapped in the layer of rocks are called fossils. The remains, whatever left there. Okay, remains of the dead plants when it is rotten inside the earth which is buried. So whatever remains there, that dead plants and animals which trapped in the layers of rocks are called fossils. Rocks roll down, crack and hit each other and are broken down into small fragments. Rocks, they roll down, crack, and they used to hit each other and are broken down. In this way, they used to break down into small fragments. They become small pieces that has formed by broken. Okay, these smaller particles are called sediments. So rocks which are formed in this process. Okay, the broken or the smaller pieces, smaller particles, they are called sediments. These sediments are transported and deposited by wind, water, etc. So, as it has broken down, so these sediments formed, and by the way, these sediments they are transported, they used to transfer and deposited by these agents of gradation like wind, water, etc. These loose sediments are compressed and hardened to form layers of rocks. So these loose sediments, they are compressed, they settle and become hardened, which form a layer of rocks. These type of rocks are called sedimentary rocks. So those rocks which are formed in this process, they are called sedimentary rocks. For example, sandstone is made from grains of sand. These rocks may also contain fossils of plants animals, and other microorganisms. So these rocks, it may have fossils. Fossils, I have already told you, that lived thousands of years ago, which has turned into rock. Okay, I have already told you these are the remains of dead plants and animals. Okay, so these fossils of plants and animals and other microorganisms. Micro means a very small thing which can be seen with microscope. Okay, that organisms that once lived on them. Igneous and sedimentary rocks can change into metamorphic rocks. Igneous, these two rocks, igneous and sedimentary rocks, they can change into metamorphic rocks under great heat and pressure. And you see these igneous and sedimentary rocks, they converted into metamorphic rocks under great heat and pressure. When these two rocks found, that means great pressure and heat at the time, it forms metamorphic rocks. For example, clay changes into slate and limestone into marble. These are the examples. Okay, so boys, what is sedimentary rocks? How are they formed? Give two examples. Then what is igneous rocks? Then how are they formed? Give two examples. This thing you need to know. Here a picture you can see figure 2.3. Sedimentary rock turn into a metamorphic rock. Rocks are very useful to us, boys. These rocks are very useful to us. The hard rocks are used for making roads, houses, and buildings. Those hard rocks, they are used for making our roads, houses, and buildings. You use stones in many games. Stones, you see, you can see different types of, you can see different stones. So these stones we are using in different ways for playing games. In many games we use stones. For example, 7 stones, pit 2, then hopscotch, stepu, kit, 5 stones, gitti. Okay, these are the different games which need stones to play. Find out some more such games by asking your grandparents, parents, neighbors, etc. Or with the help of internet also you can search. Okay, what are the games which need stones to play? Now see, collect pictures of some monuments and find out which are the rocks used to build them. Two pictures have been collected for you. See, you have to collect some pictures of some monuments, means some historical buildings, and you have to find out which are the rocks used to build them. Two pictures, as example it has given. They are the Red Fort, which is made of red sandstone, and another one is the Taj Mahal, which is made of white marbles. You will be surprised to know that one type of rock changes to another type under certain conditions in a cyclic manner. Boys, you will wonder to know that one type of rock, it used to changes to another type under certain conditions in a cyclic manner. In a cyclic manner means following a repeated pattern. Cyclic manner means following a repeated pattern. This process of transformation of the rock from one to another is known as the rock cycle. So this transformation, this process of transformation, boys. Transformation means a marked change in form, nature, or appearance, okay, of rock from one to another is known as the rock cycle. Come on, underline this one also, and you must know it. What is a rock cycle? You have already learned when the molten magma cools, it solidifies to become igneous rock. But you have already learned in this chapter that when the molten magma, that melting magma cools, it become hard or solid. That means solidifies. And when it become hard and solid, it become igneous rock. These igneous rocks are broken down into small particles that are transported and deposited to form sedimentary rocks. So these igneous rock, boys, these are broken down into small particles and that are transported and deposited. There is to transfer, okay, and is to deposited to form sedimentary rocks. When the igneous and sedimentary rocks are subjected to heat and pressure, they change into metamorphic rocks. The formation of different rocks, you see, boys. These igneous rocks are broken down into small particles that are transported and deposited to form sedimentary rocks. When the igneous and sedimentary rocks are subjected means are caused or forced, okay, to undergo, that means to heat and pressure, they change into metamorphic rocks. This is how metamorphic rocks formed. The metamorphic rocks, which are still under great heat and pressure, melt down to form molten magma. See, the metamorphic rocks, which are still goes under great heat and pressure, there it used to melt down liquid particles. It converted into liquid particles and it formed molten magma. This molten magma again can cool down and solidify into igneous rocks. Again, this molten magma, it can cool down and it form as a solid into igneous rock. Rocks are made up of different minerals. See, boys, rocks, they are made up of different minerals. Minerals are naturally occurring substances which have certain physical properties and definite chemical composition. Minerals, they are naturally occurring substances, okay, they are naturally occurring, then which have certain physical properties and definite chemical composition. They have physical properties, okay, different physical properties and fixed chemical composition. Minerals are very important to humankind. Minerals, they are very important to us, okay, to mankind. Some are used as fuels. See, these minerals, they are, some of them, we use them as fuels to make oil, okay, like that. Then, for example, coal, natural gas, and petroleum. As example, these all are gift of minerals, you must know, boys. Coal, natural gas, and petroleum. They are also used in industries. Okay, coal, natural gas, and petroleum, we use them in our different industries. iron, aluminium, gold, uranium, etc. in medicine, in fertilizers, etc. So see here, what we find here as these minerals, they are used in industries, iron, aluminium, gold, uranium, etc. in medicine, in fertilizers, etc. They are using in such a way. Now, what are the minerals found in your states? Collect some samples to show in your class. Okay, just leave it. Okay, so you must know it. Okay, from that also you can search, boys. So here is the end of the chapter. Thank you all.